Hello, my love.
Hello?
How are you?
I'm doing great now that it's Planet Zoo time. Look at this guy.
Here, give me a second. Look at this guy. Yo, he's strutting. He's serving.
Get out of the way.
Get that ugly human out of the way.
I'm admiring, what's your name? I don't like that name. You're gonna be called Nugget.
Nugget. Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah. That's right. Oh. Alright, he doesn't want to go to sleep in his pile of french fries. Alright, you're gonna go hang out in the mud. That's fine. Welcome to Chill Zoo. Everything is chill here. Everything is super chill. Except that all the enclosures are made of electrified fences because
That's pretty chill, honestly.
the stupid bastard who lives in this one climbs straight up 70 feet. Just a sheer straight climb right up.
I always like it designing enclosures that the animals like definitely can get out of, and then like seeing them terrorize everybody.
Now that's just diabolical. I would
I
never
don't know
think.
if that's very chill. I don't know if that's in line with the ethos of Chill Zoo.
Yeah, I don't think that's very chill. What is chill is watching this guy eat a pumpkin full of frozen blood. And now he's gonna walk away.
So I'm writing lesson plans right now.
Ooh.
Isn't that
Yeah, that's really epic.
it is quite epic.
What's the lesson plan about Professy?
Well, we're writing a series of 4 lessons all about urbanization in the United States.
Wow. Cool. Hey, as long as it's not about boxes, I think we're good. You know what U.S. history question I was thinking about the other day?
Uh-oh.
I was trying to figure out if there was any rationale behind where the lines for the four corner states went. And I didn't look too hard, so maybe there is an easy answer to that. But I just find it interesting that the way New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah are split is so that it goes like right through the middle of the Navajo Nation, like right through the middle. The biggest chunk is in Arizona, but historically, I believe Arizona also had the largest population in general. And that's definitely true today compared to at least Utah and New Mexico. Colorado's probably bigger. At this point,
I don't know.
maybe. It sure seems like everyone and their dog lives in Boulder or Denver or some shit like that.
Um, I mean, Phoenix is okay. So Arizona is at 7.35 million. Colorado's at 5.8 million.
Oh, I thought people.
No. 5.8 million people.
Okay.
Which is still less than Arizona.
Okay.
Um,
But still whole people, which is interesting. I never thought about Coloradans being like people. I thought they were just sentient weed nugs. Don't take it personally. To all the many Coloradoans in the chat, I only talk shit because I'm jealous. Error, YouTube is not responding, viewers will experience buffering. Yeah, I figured that was going to be the case. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it just seemed like kind of an intentional, what we would now call gerrymandering, so that there was none of the 4 states would end up having a majority or even like plurality Navajo population. And there's other reservations like inside that region and pretty close by. And so I was like, that seems a little too intentional to be an accident.
I'm looking this up.
But then it also seemed really interesting that apparently a lot of the lines are now defined as where the markers were put and not where the original intended border boundaries were, because the surveyors didn't get it 100% accurate, and they're like, well, the border is where they put the thing. So it's interesting that there's a little bit of nuance about where borders go and recognizing it's completely arbitrary, but only in the inner state.
Okay, so the first boundary, which is kind of the less important one, which is the one that divides New Mexico, Arizona from Utah, Colorado, came from the Compromise of 1850, which makes sense to me.
Oh no, is that one of the slavery ones?
That's a slavery.
Oh, great.
So the border between the two territories was congressionally defined as the 37th parallel north by, and yeah. Then, in 1861, Congress transfers land previously allocated to Utah to the newly created Colorado territory. And that border, the splitting of the Utah territory basically in half, sort of along the Rockies, not really, is what defines the other corner, the other one, right?
Is it just kind of a straightforward, like, latitude or something like that? Or is it literally just, here, why not?
Yeah, it's the 32nd meridian west from Washington.
Okay. Just as God intended.
Then there were some issues during the Civil War, which you know.
Mm-hmm.
And because of those issues, that is why the New Mexico territory, that's part of why the New Mexico territory gets split along that existing dividing line that divides Utah and Colorado into Arizona and New Mexico. So, like, the northern part of Arizona and the northern part of New Mexico belong to the onion.
Mm-hmm.
And so they divide that into two.
Okay.
And that happens. Yeah.
So the answer is it's a little bit about slavery, but not in the same way that, like, the shape of Texas was determined by slavery.
It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of incidentally about slavery because, now, don't quote me on this, but as far as I understand, there never was slavery in any of those 4 states. At least not, like, legally.
Yeah, you would imagine, because I believe there was a short-lived Confederate presence here in Tucson.
Yeah, that's true. There were Confederates here, but they're criminals. So.
Right. So did they bring slaves? I guess we don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the wherewithal. I don't care. But the Navajo Nation probably did not factor into the decision to split the states the way that they're split. If I had to go out on a limb and make a guess.
Okay, I will quote you on that. Legally.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
No.
Don't quote me. I don't know anything.
Speaking of people who don't know anything, I read a very interesting article today about a set of footprints that were discovered in China,
Oh god.
and the corresponding article claims a couple of strange things. This is all going to be too esoteric for anyone but me to care about, but fuck you, it's my stream. So the track is of what's supposed to be a troodontid, which is a type of two-legged carnivorous dinosaur.
Like me.
Like you, but the difference is that there actually is no difference. The difference between that and what was put in the article was the article claimed that the footprints were found in South Korea, which is not the case. The author appears to have been confused. This is an article in the Telegraph, in case you were under the impression that any of this is quality journalism. So the Telegraph writer hears the author say, yeah, we've worked on really small footprints in South Korea, and that turned into, these were also found in South Korea, even though the ichnotaxon, the name assigned to the footprints themselves, have the name of the Chinese province that they were found in the name. So that's interesting. And then they also go out of their way to call it a velociraptor, which is just not correct in any capacity. You can really stretch some colloquial definitions to make that make sense. But, mostly I'm just wishing that people hired editors that knew what they were talking about if you wanted to cover this type of story, and B, presumably the writers know that there's a difference between China and South Korea. The other thing,
Maybe.
it's the kind of complaint that I have, but basically nobody else cares about. I understand. It matters to me and not pretty much not anybody else. You should be a good enough writer and have the kind of attention to detail that someone mentioning South Korea does not throw you off and make you think that the story you're writing about is of a find in South Korea, because it's not.
No, that is not a concern that only you have. I think that your writing should be good enough to where we all know where we're going. Or if you do surprise us, you explain in detail why you're surprising us after you surprise us.
The little gotcha. The little haha. I got you. We're gonna make some dunes here. This is some dune. Whoa. I've got an appointment in the morning on Monday to go down to campus. Aw, yeah. Pretending I still have reasons to be there.
I have class on Monday.
That's
One of
so...
the semester.
Ooh. Wait, is it? Oh yeah, it's end of April. Damn, that must suck.
I'm actually very excited. I want to leave the history department. But also, I do want to leave the history department. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna put some lady camels in this enclosure.
I'm sick of doing this particular kind of academic work a little bit, like this requires so much thinking, and like it's so like self-driven that it's like killing me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, like I really like everybody in the history department, and I don't want to leave.
Right. The warm bosom of the academic system is hard to detach from.
Exactly. So I'm moving to the education department. Technically, it's what do they call it? Teaching and learning sciences.
Right, because nothing can just be,
'Cause nothing's simple anymore.
yeah, everything has to be.
Back in the good old days, we called it English, not language arts.
Wow, look at that guy go.
That's a camel.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm an ecologist.
Well, the appointment on Monday is to go look at a camel skull.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that at Special Collections?
Just in mammalogy.
Okay.
There's some fossil camels in a different collection that I should go and look at, but I'm kind of getting into the rhythm of how like submitting requests works and stuff like that. So you have to fill out the funny little form that says, "Here I am. Here's when I'm coming. Here's my institution." Haha, I don't have one.
By the way, I don't know if you're into city builder games, but I played Manor Lords for about an hour and a half today,
Mm,
and there's kind of no content yet.
I see.
Like,
I have played
even
some City Skylines, and back in the
doesn't
day,
really exist yet.
of course, SimCity 4.
Yeah. I mean, there's some interesting ideas, but I don't know, like, it's kind of like a tech demo right now, almost.
It is interesting how designing stuff like that kind of becomes its own like anthropological study, because it really tells a lot about how you think cities work, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I wonder if we could use city builders in teaching high school history. What's that one call that takes place
Minecraft.
Anno 1800? It's the one where like you build your city pre-industrialization, and it expands during industrializations, and you get kind of that European experience where
Right.
these cities were built during like the Middle Ages.
Yeah. That's Minecraft. Yeah.
No, it's not Minecraft. I'm not talking about Minecraft.
I think you're talking about Minecraft.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. So, Minecraft is a game where it's kind of like PUBG, except
I
that...
thought it was a belief system.
No. No. Oh my god. We gotta start way back at the beginning. Except we're not, because I don't feel like committing to that bit any further.
Yeah. I get it.
Is that not enough rock for you? You got 4% rock in here. Is that not enough? Okay, fine. Everyone wants more than 4% rock. Anyway, I'm sure the lesson plan is going to be so incredible that the students are going to suddenly say, "I understand all of the course content full and completely, and I won't have any stupid questions," right before the final.
Bro, you think we have course content here?
Oh, sorry,
Nah.
forgot history.
We don't have anything.
There's no class.
There's no class. Here in history, You don't learn things.
You learn about things.
You learn how to learn things, man.
Okay.
Ugh.
Sounds like you need to chill like this camel right now in a pile of sand in the pouring rain. Doesn't that sound relaxing?
Oh, sounds like something.
I don't think this guy's very happy that there's no shelter in here. Everybody always wants things from me. My favorite thing to do is to make shelters out of prefab buildings and just like take the core out. So there's just like a house in here. Oh, also, for some reason, I appear to have downloaded as a mod an entire Pizza Hut restaurant. It floats off the ground somehow, so something is missing. But there is an entire Pizza Hut. Let's see. That one's too big. Oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna give them this one with the 2 Jeeps. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. There we go. And then we put down some French fries. There we go. No, 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 no. You know what I don't miss from like high school English is writing citations by hand.
Why did you write them by hand?
They made us do it that way.
What the fuck? Did you have to do it in class?
I mean, I guess like type it, but without like A bibliography? Okay, what I just said made no sense. Type it as part of a bibliography. But you couldn't use like EasyBib or something like that. No.
Why? How are they stopping you from doing that?
Functionally,
Saying so.
functionally, there was never any real way.
Okay.
If you weren't that adept at getting away with shit, you might not necessarily know to like paste without formatting, because there's some pretty obvious like highlights that show up. But I mean, the implication and the instructions pretty frequently said, don't use a citation manager, practice it by hand, it's better. And I think that mostly just wasted time.
Well, Amazon Basics. Oh, AAA batteries. My husband is home. Okay. I'm gonna defend your English teacher for 1 second, but
Okay.
for the most part, that's fucking stupid. But you should be reviewing your citations to make sure that they are consistent and correct before you put them in anything.
Sure.
Which I think is probably the point they were going for, unless they're just sadists, which, I mean, that's also kind of an English teacher sort of trait.
I interpret it as a sadist thing. Also, I did not see that Rita jumped in the chat and asked if New Mexico belongs to the Onion. I don't know if you're still here, but the answer is absolutely.
During the war, the southern half of it was technically occupied by the CSA, but that's not really.
Alright, we've got all the habitat essentials. There's no food or water, but we do have this nice topiary with some hydrangea. I've got an appointment bowling tonight. Ooh. Do you have any idea how bad I am at bowling?
I'm also pretty damn bad at bowling. I'm not exactly a bowling master. I'm actually kind of the opposite of a bowling master.
A bowling scrub.
Bowling failure.
God, what are you guys screaming about? Jeez. Everybody's so noisy. There, you got your stupid... You ever get the feeling that the Earth is just God's ashtray?
I get all sorts of thoughts in my head. But personally, I don't think about God ever.
I think about whoever it is that runs down the length of the wash must be every week, if not several times a week, putting these little placards with the good news on it, and stuff it under like rocks and on benches and stuff like that. I guess it's good exercise if you have to be, proselytizing. I assume it is.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe missionary work is just kind of like it's like hitting the gym. Okay, let's play Kiss, Marry, Kill, but with the presidents. Are you ready? Okay. Kiss, Marry, Kill. Grover Cleveland,
Okay.
Mary Todd Lincoln, and Grover Cleveland the second time.
All right. Here's my evaluation.
Objective historical evaluation.
I really don't want to marry Todd Lincoln.
What is that?
Like, I really don't want to marry Todd Lincoln.
Bad track record of preventing assassinations.
Yeah, bad track record of preventing assassinations. I mean, it seems like they kind of didn't really have a very happy marriage. Especially after the death of her son. So I think I'm gonna kiss Mary Todd Lincoln, marry Grover Cleveland, and kill Grover Cleveland.
Okay.
Again.
See, but which would you marry and which would you kill? Because I would kill term 1 and marry term 2, just because I know it's going to be over sooner.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Although, maybe I marry term 1 and kill term 2 so that I'm the that way it, like, follows, Like, we're not fucking with the chronology.
Okay. Let's think.
Okay, I've got
Okay. Hit me.
Alright, now one of these is not actually a president, but we're cheating, okay?
Okay.
Alright. Kiss, marry, kill. Grant, Eisenhower, McCarthy.
Oh, jeez. Grant and Eisenhower are so similar.
That's why I chose that. Actually, no. You know what? We're gonna make this easier.
Okay.
Instead of McCarthy, we're gonna go with General Douglas MacArthur.
Okay, so just 3 identical guys.
Yeah, three of the same guy.
Yeah. 3 of the same type of guy. One of them did not succeed, though.
One of them did not succeed. One of them's a little crazier than the others.
Okay. Oh, let's think. I feel like Eisenhower was the wealthiest of the 3. If we're looking at ratio of...
Yeah, that's probably true.
If we're looking at ratio of wealth to damage, I'm going to say Grant is probably the most damaged.
I mean, I don't know. MacArthur is... Like,
He's the tactical nukes guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
But were it not for Grant's era, would he not have used tactical nukes on the Confederate States?
You know, that's actually a pretty good point. Although, it was more Sherman who was known for the... Grant was kind of a fail. Grant kind of a fail son. This is my unpopular opinion. Grant, loss after loss, after, like, continual L's.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not great. Kind of like sucked at his job and then got the presidency afterwards.
As a consolation prize.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to... Ugh.
I know my answer.
Okay, you go first.
Well, I think I agree. I'm gonna marry Eisenhower. I think that I could live a whole life with his bald head, you know. I'm gonna kiss MacArthur because I feel like he'd be crazy in bed, you know. I'm a tactical nukes guy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kill Grant because, you know, I'm just not impressed with that. I kind of wish that he was a little better.
I'm gonna marry Eisenhower for the money. Also, like, I guess the Eisenhowers didn't really stick around as a dynasty, but you can totally see how, like, if they had maneuvered it better, far more popular than the Kennedys, certainly.
Yeah.
So purely for monetary gain and clout, which is the only metric that I evaluate things under, I'm going to marry Eisenhower. I'm going to kiss Grant because just poor guy. You tried your best, I guess. You tried your best.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay. I mean,
And
also, you know, you were on the right side of that particular war.
Yeah. And I'm definitely killing MacArthur because there's kind of no ethical reason to leave him alive if you have the option of not. It's kind of a mad dog that needed to be put down.
Right.
Now, an interesting comparison of types of guy would be Sherman and MacArthur.
Okay, here we go. Herman, MacArthur, Patton.
I'm gonna have to kill Sherman because I can't kiss or marry someone with my dad's name. I'm going to God. I feel like Patton was a little bit more hinged, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. Like as insane as MacArthur was, I truly think that MacArthur had his head on a little straighter than Patton did.
Just kind of a circumstance of like no normal dudes.
I mean, Patton's proposal at the end of World War II was to drop atomic bombs on Moscow and invade the Soviet Union
Just right after.
as a preemptive strike.
Nice.
Well, the army's already here.
Might as well. We're never gonna
Let's
be.
get it over with.
We're never gonna be
We're never
positioned better.
This is the best time ever to do this.
That would definitely be America World Supervillain era for sure, which we didn't exactly hit right away. Look at how chill my aloe vera is. The real aloe vera I have growing on my porch has sunburn, which is cool. Cool that even the aloe vera here gets sunburn. Oh. Dookie is back at the Blood Pumpkin. Just running vertically. Okay. Walking through walls, no problem. Oh. And he's dead. Too bad. Let's check out Nugget. Okay. Now, I had a thought, which was that you could probably do kind of an interesting meta study on whether like science journalism outlets are actually writing their own material or whether they're taking press packets and making ChatGPT do it by taking your own press packets and stuff that you have access to. And, you know, you can just kind of prompt it to do the same thing 50 or 100 times and see all the different varieties that it spits out. And then once you've got actual news releases to work with, you would obviously just need to collate that, put in a text document, and see if there's any phrases and large chunks of text that are the same. If they're doing it, I think it would be pretty easy to spot. Because, like, I don't know, I try not to spend too much time reading bad news articles because, unfortunately, the utility is pretty limited. You can put, you know, write down a comment that says, hey, the way that this is edited makes absolutely no sense. Here's some pretty basic errors that they made. And, you know, they're not going to, like, hire... No outlet has had, like, a science editor in a decade. So doing that is not going to make them hire on more staff to, like, fix the issue. But I think it would be worthwhile, like, knowing, you know, if I gave materials to a particular outlet or whatever, and then I pretty obviously check the article later and see that what was written has a whole bunch of technical errors. And if you can, if there are human-derived errors, or if they are the result of using a quote-unquote artificial intelligence, I think it would be pretty easy to differentiate, because AI makes, like, different types of mistakes. They don't use it doesn't use words wrong, is one of the key things. You know, so for the study that calls a troodontid a quote-unquote velociraptor is a mistake that ChatGPT would not make if you had just put even the title of the article, like the title and the abstract of the real thing, spit that into ChatGPT and say, turn this into a, you know, 10-sentence 5th grade reading level summary. It would not have chosen to call it a velociraptor. It would have called it by the name that the paper itself says, right? It would not editorialize the source material, I don't think.
Probably not, but I do know that ChatGPT does have a knack for, it's almost like it's, it like treats everything like a thesaurus, right? So like by like looking up something and seeing what else, like what other ways that you can say it,
Right.
you know? So it could maybe get a velociraptor. That seems kind of unlikely to me, but I wouldn't put it past it for, again, like treating a word like it needs to be put through the thesaurus machine.
Right. I think that would be a case of it replicating human error, because what you're talking about is what is supposed to be part of good writing, right? Is not using the same term over and over again. That's kind of what you're instructed to do, is to, crack open the thesaurus if you have to and try using alternate words. And a lot of the misinformation that accidentally gets passed around, I'm not an expert in everything, but the stuff that I do know more than the average person about, if you pull up, and anyone who knows more than the average person about a particular topic can replicate this. You go find a news article and just read it as it's written, and there's a lot of nuance that you're just going to catch that the author probably didn't get right, because they don't have a specialist on staff to tell them about it. And in this case, the stuff that I have a better eye for, I notice that a lot of the errors that crop up are because of that exact problem. In science, we have one word that means one thing, and there's another word that can mean a slightly different thing, but it has a different definition. It's a little bit higher up. Like in taxonomy, this happens a lot, where there's a particular term that means this specific thing, and if you can't use it interchangeably with like the umbrella term that includes it and other stuff as well, they're not interchangeable. It's changing what you're technically saying. So I see that error made pretty frequently. And that would be a case of ChatGPT replicating human error because it's trained on human writing. But, for example, a pretty easy tell would be that ChatGPT loves writing blocks of paragraphs. There's kind of unless you tell it a specific, like, format, and it's a gamble whether it'll actually, for example, if you say, give me 3 paragraphs of 5 sentences, it can't count. So there's no guarantee it's going to actually do that. A lot of the, like, give me 3 paragraph prompts were, like, clusters of 3 sentences. Sometimes 3 of them, sometimes 4 or 5 of them. Again, because the program can't count. So it really struggles with formatting. And when you don't specify a format, it tends to spit out kind of identically sized paragraphs.
Right. Yeah. I'm fascinated and terrified by ChatGPT as a future teacher. You know, because like, I like to think that like my bullshit detector is good enough to be able to know when somebody is using generative AI to write something, especially like a homework assignment.
Right.
On the other hand, like, if I've got 5 classes, each with 40 students, right?
Yeah.
Read X number of things. Like, how good can I possibly be?
Right. Well, I think a key thing to keep in mind, and we can both attest to this, is that student writing quite frequently is just bad.
That is true. That is true. Student writing is often very, very bad, but it's just not. You're not as good at communicating your ideas.
Right, and a lot of the times grading comes down to, did you meet the technical requirements of what was asked of you? Because in a lot of cases, if you're judging if you're grading purely on like factual accuracy, you start getting into situations where, like, if they know the source material outside of what's presented to you in class, sometimes it's like, well, some do think this, even if it's a minority opinion. I
Right,
wouldn't
or
take points off for that. So you more have to define, like, did you actually follow the format of what was asked of you? And
that's where I think that ChatGPT can be incredibly easy to get past a professor, in my opinion, anyway. Because then, if I'm not really worried about, like, does this make sense, right? And I'm
Yeah.
worried about, did you write answers to the questions that I asked? That's so much easier to fake or whatever than. But I guess maybe it just kind of is the job of a teacher to sort of actually be reading everything.
Right.
Especially if it's like a paper on a piece. But like if it's just like a read this and answer some questions, which is like kind of my least favorite kind of homework.
Yeah, well, step 0 in every question like this is just smaller class sizes in general, so that you do have a better, yeah, as if, but you'd have an easier time knowing if this is a particular student's voice versus ChatGPT if you've got kind of a better handle of what that student's writing typically looks like. I was having...
Say, it is much easier to tell when you're reading high school students writing versus, like, say, college students writing.
Yeah.
Because high school students just aren't as good at writing.
Right. So ChatGPT does tend to, again, in my experience from what I've asked it to answer, it does tend to use terminology fairly accurately. And so I know a lot of, like, yeah, high school teachers and stuff, people in that kind of range, you can tell because they're using words that no high schooler ever uses. And because they have smaller class sizes, you can even say, well, maybe some of my students would use this word, but you specifically would not ever say this. But in college, everyone kind of has the same writing voice in a lot of ways. Like, it's just
it's
flattened, you know?
It's funny that you say that a high school class is smaller than a college class, but I guess that's kind of true for a lot of science classes. In my world, a high school class is significantly smaller than a college class.
I guess that's true.
Or significantly larger.
Larger.
Than a college class.
Because a lot of your classes are like 5 people.
5 people, right? Whereas 40 people, that's a lot of students.
Right.
So is that like a person with their penis out?
No.
Alright, well, that's what I see in it.
I think you should talk to a man named Sigmund Freud about that.
I talk with Sigmund Freud every day.
Yeah, when I was trying to think of, like, what changes would I make if I was responsible for, like, editing or grading student essays in the current climate, would be we're gonna have a class Google Drive, and you're going to write everything on the template that is given to you. So I can look at the writing history and see whether you actually wrote stuff and deleted it, or if it was all copied and pasted in at once.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea, but you'll inevitably get a situation where a student writes something in word right and just copies and pastes it over.
Sure. Well, at some point you have to.
Or you'll get a situation where, I'm trying to think if there's a way to do this. So if you shared each document, no, if you gave every student their own Drive folder, then you could make sure that like students aren't like editing each other's stuff to like play pranks on each other anymore.
Sure. Or just paying each other to do each other's work, which I absolutely know is happening in college.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think that perhaps the other thing to do is to like talk to your students, you know?
Sure.
Like, which is why I wonder if it makes sense to like go into a class and like as a class try to answer class prompts with ChatGPT to sort of demonstrate how well or not well it works, you know? Because I can see in the sciences ChatGPT being actually like a fucking humongous problem, right? Because one, there's a lot more like open access science articles out there for ChatGPT to just pull from.
Sure.
And two, science has a particular style and affect to it that I think kind of has a little less room for individual students to kind of show their own writing style in.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I mean, that's more or less what I meant by, like, in college everyone sounds the same, which was, in high school I was in, an AP language and literature, and so I had to read essays about books, whereas the only stuff I peer-reviewed in college were college papers. Well, no, that's not true. I did some gen eds.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know. I feel like people take on quote unquote college voice. Everyone's intentionally using, I feel like what I was reading of other people's in high school was very, I wouldn't say less formal, but definitely more like
amateurish.
See, but I don't want to use terms like that because people get mad.
Well,
I would say it's a little more jovial. I used to write jokes into my essays all the time in high school, and not once in college was I like, I'm going to improve this by adding a little bit of humor, because we're all so just like, finish the task, we're only here for an hour, just, making it funny isn't going to make the professor grade it any higher,
Yeah.
I guess that's just down to, like, differences in the classes as well. But, I mean, the point definitely stands that science writing all kind of does have... It's very atonal. The reason why I wasn't super concerned, at least after messing around with ChatGPT 3.5, newer editions may be better at this, but I found it really not any better at answering science-based questions than a student who can just Google things but didn't attend any lectures. Because primarily it can't think. It just can't do that. It's all about word association. So it was just really odd reading these responses that use really technical language that would imply someone who has pretty decent comprehension, if not almost like proficiency in the topic, but really shallow examples and really no ability to connect anything together. So the particular example I'm thinking of was I asked it to answer a question on changes over geological time in the composition of coral reefs, because it's not been the same. We've had coral reefs for a very long time, but what actually constitutes a reef has changed. And I don't think I... Oh, no, I did. The prompt basically asked to explain trends very generally. And so the response it spat out did follow the basic outlines of, like, okay, it's rugose coral in the Paleozoics, and I don't think it ever mentioned productids and stuff like that. But rugose coral, you got it. Horn coral, that's one of the groups you're looking for. Okay, and then they die out, and then you start getting the Scleractinian coral, which is what's around today in the Mesozoic, but primarily, especially for particular times, you're looking at rudous bivalves. And then after another extinction, you have, again, very generally speaking, the Scleractinians. And there's other components like stromatolitic algae in there, and a lot of it depends, but there are general trends over geologic time. And more importantly, like the shifts are caused by catastrophic climate change. Because the thing that unites all of these animals is that they're slow growing, they're filter feeders, they're epifaunal, so they don't need to move, and it just so happens that that particular strategy is vulnerable during periods of mass extinction. So it's not really a surprise that the constituents of that ecosystem switch out, but that there has been consistently a niche for an epifaunal, filter-feeding, slow-growing colonial organism. And so what was interesting was ChatGPT spitting out examples that, are correct, but anyone who can Google stuff can get the correct answer there about the rudous and then, or the rugose corals and then the rudous and the Scleractinians. But, and then of course at the very end, because every single story on coral, every single story in the news talks about coral bleaching and climate change, every single one. And ChatGPT is trained on soft science news articles. Unfortunately, it's also trained on the comments below those articles, but, it is what it is. And so, it answers, it hits just the bare bones of the technical aspects of the question, and then it mentions climate change as a threat to coral reefs generically, but does not connect that the changes in time have happened because of climate change. And so I think it's the really uncanny ability to use highly technical language, but not wield it with any degree of, competency. You have no handle on what these words mean beyond their strict definition and how they interact with one another. It's just really fascinating to see a non-thinking entity use, competent flawless sentence structure and stuff like that, but without any understanding of what it's actually saying. It's just such a distinct combination that I feel like, hopefully for quite a long time, at least I feel confident that for what I'm trained to know about, that I could tell the difference.
Yeah.
Now, what I find a little bit more plausible and something definitely worth thinking about is not a future where I'm fighting students over whether or not they're using ChatGPT, and instead a future where you're not even teaching students. You're teaching ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is teaching students.
Yeah. I think that really perhaps the fundamental thing is, like, look, you get what you put into your education, you know?
Right.
I'm honestly particularly concerned about quote-unquote cheating as much, because, like, look, if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna find a way to cheat, you know? And I can put some constraints on you that make it more difficult to cheat, but at the end of the day, like, the student mindset is often, I'm going to take the shortest possible route to finishing this particular thing, given my particular moral and ethical and whatever stance on things.
Right. Or just simply, I'm busy, I don't want to do this.
Right.
This is bullshit anyway, so why try?
And that stance changes depending on your circumstances, right? So, like, you know, learning how to use ChatGPT and make it believable and et cetera, that's activating parts of your brain. That is a problem to solve. Obviously, I don't want students not producing their own work, you know? And I think that I can make that very clear to students, saying, look, I think that it's better for you if you are producing your own work, if you are writing it yourself.
Because if not, what are we even doing here?
Like, but if not, like, I don't know why we're here.
Right.
You know?
The concern is, are degrees being cheapened by people cheating? That's, you know...
Who cares?
But it's immaterial because the degrees are already entirely devalued.
I mean, look, I'm the only real with you. There are so few instances where the degree you have has hardly any bearing on what you're doing. You know? You can learn so many of these things on the job and be good at them.
Right. If it's a job and not academics.
Yeah, I mean, that's different, you know? Academics is different. But in order to...
It's a huge fucking TV. What the fuck?
Dude,
Is that a TV? I think this is a TV.
holy shit. I mean, you know...
Oh my
To
god.
get a job in academics, you gotta go through the whole PhD process, and there are so many checks on that. You can't cheat your way through a dissertation.
I definitely don't see that as a possibility. That would be ridiculous.
And no one with a bachelor's degree is teaching. Not at the college level. Now, whether or not they're teaching at the high school level is a different thing. But I honestly think that a high school student can teach high school and still be successful.
I think the big points are, again, if you're using ChatGPT to do your work, why are we even here? It's often a question, obviously, that students also ask. They also feel that what they're doing is pointless. Because on some level, everyone understands that what's happening in the classroom is not reflective of what the industry is actually like, and that industry experience is more valuable. There's no coordination between departments, professors, classes. Nobody cares if you realistically have enough time to do all of your courses well. No one has the time to spare to figure out if it's a realistic schedule for you. and it would not be possible realistically to balance. It's just kind of expected that, like, hey, if you put too much on yourself, if you put more on yourself than you're able to handle, get an easier degree, there's just not a lot of sympathy in that sense. So, like, I get it. People want to save time. They don't feel like what they're doing is actually valuable anyway, so why not use ChatGPT if it's going to do your work for you? But pretty much the only useful thing you get out of a college degree is the work experience. And so not all of it is going to be useful, but if you're not working and you're not learning and you're just paying the money and the time, I don't see what anyone's getting out of it in that case. That's just me.
Yeah. Now I'm coming from a slightly different perspective, which is that I'm going to be a high school teacher, right? That's a completely different.
Right, so the question to the answer of why are you here is you have to be legally.
You have to be legally, which is a very difficult answer to contend with. Okay. And so then you have to ask students, well, you got to be here anyway. Do you want to do something with that time? What do you want to do with that time?
We've got donut ads. Oh, can I place this out of bounds? That's so funny. Nope. Did not like that. Oh, that's so sick. I'm going to tilt it a little bit so that the wild animals can see it too. I think the one use for ChatGPT in a classroom that I can think of is going back to probably like sophomore year high school English. Not even AP yet, just honors English. And trying to learn how to write an essay, which is really all that part of your English training is about. It's about increasing volume, thinking about a topic critically, and producing anything according to format, within the time allotted. And that's not interrogating whether that's a useful skill to have. It was obviously useful for me, but that's because, I'm not saying it's perfect, it's just that's what it is. And I think it would be useful kind of at the very beginning of doing that kind of training to pull up ChatGPT and say, okay, what ChatGPT is about to do is what you are supposed to be doing here, right? You are supposed to take the prompt, follow it, use your source material. You have to be able to identify what it's asking for. So if you're talking about theme, be able to go to the source material and identify what your themes are. And we've taken notes on this book that we all allegedly read, so you've hopefully got notes on what the theme is. Take that information, put it into this format. It doesn't matter if you liked the book. It doesn't matter if it connected with you. It doesn't matter if you agree with what you're saying here. Just can you take the prompt, identify what it's asking for, and produce something in the correct format? I think it would be useful to get early writing students thinking of themselves as ChatGPT, because it outclasses them in the specific skill that they're supposed to be learning. And that's pretty much it that I can foresee. Just because what it spits out is so unreliable as far as, like, I mean, I would not use it, even if we're talking about something like basic, like high school biology, something that it should have a pretty good handle on. There's plenty of open resources on, like, high school bio. I just would not trust it. it's just not capable of fact checking itself, and I don't really feel like it would save any time by having students ask it questions. I think the best test that you can do for it, if I was trying to convince students not to use it by demonstrating what its shortfalls are and make that clear, I would say ask it a bunch of specific questions about something you know more than the average person about.
Yeah.
You know, ask it about Magic the Gathering if that's your thing. Because you'll figure out pretty quickly that, like, okay, yeah, it gets a lot of... it has the veneer of accuracy, and it's difficult to argue with what it says, but it has no idea what it's talking about. Yes, go in the hut. Go in the hut. These guys have 2 Jeeps. Okay, I'm gonna turn this into a tombstone for Joe Camel. Let's see. That didn't help at all. This font is called Boogaloo. Don't read too much into that. There's something funny about this J.
Jordans.
Yeah, Jordans. I don't think they officially licensed that for this game. You should put bugs in his hair. You know what I wish? I wish that you could go down to the hardware store and get 500 ladybugs of a non-introduced species. Because I can't think of something more fun than releasing thousands of insects upon your community, your nearby. I mean, I think about, because they're $10 each, you blow $50 on like just ladybugs, and you could bring a plague to an apartment around the size of my complex if you really wanted to. But they're non-native, and that makes it not fun.
Yeah.
What's an appropriate color for the writing on the tombstone of Joe Camel?
I think
Maybe like a yellowed,
the
yellowed like the teeth
Yeah.
of a lifelong smoker of camels.
The J backwards. Just wondering. I didn't say fix it. I was curious.
Does Joe Camel have a middle name? Joseph Robinette Camel.
No, he's also called Old Joe. So technically, I think Joe is the middle name.
Okay.
Because the full name would be
Old Joe Camel. Right.
That seems kind of fucked up.
I wonder.
I walked 50 miles
For our Quaalude. Unsurprisingly, I believe that man died of a heart attack. Okay, let's get some candles. Just kind of put those around. Yeah. Nothing to be concerned about. Pizza oven?
vanished.
Why do I have a pizza oven? Maybe.
Hey,
Maybe.
wait.
Who should?
Hard news.
I don't think they will.
Oh, yes.
I think they all deserve a pizza oven. Here we go.
Pizza oven.
You got a pizza oven. Let's see.
Get a pizza oven. Get a pizza oven.
If I can't give them a Pizza Hut, I might as well give them a pizza oven. Okay, you got a pizza oven. Because needed it for a pizza build is the description of the pizza oven. I'm going to put this pizza oven indoors. There we go. That'll keep it nice and warm. Okay, everybody's got their pizza oven. I should put music speakers everywhere.
I would walk 50 miles.
Lo-fi. Did I download Planet Zoo Lo-fi or did it come with this? Northern Lights. I don't hear it. Dookie is about to die of old age. Oh. Oh no. Dang. He just fell right down. Gotta call the vet. Okay, well, Dookie didn't make it, but it had nothing to do with the pizza oven I put inside of his enclosure, so that one officially is not on me. See if we can get a younger Clouder Leopard next time. Is he still mopey?
Oh yeah.
So is he like clear of ringworm, or is he still in treatment?
It's heartworm and
Heartworm.
he hasn't even gotten his first shot yet.
Oh no.
It takes forever. Literally, it's like a 6-month treatment process.
I'm gonna make a memorial to Dookie. There we go. What? It doesn't even say its name. It's in gibberish. No.
This is why.
No.
This is why this is all fucked up.
Do you know they make Google for documents now?
Really?
Yeah. You can also use it when you're driving. What do you think? Should this one be named Tukey or Dookie Dose?
I like Tukey.
Okay, we'll stick with Tukey. Ooh, I've got a friend request from an unknown account. No mutual friends, no mutual servers. Anime profile photo. This seems like someone I should talk to. you covered in something?
It's chocolate. Yeah, it's chocolate.
Definitely beats the alternative.
What would that alternative be then?
Nougat? Would you rather be covered in nougat?
Probably not. Oh, that looks like it's going well. Why is it not snapping into the thing?
Okay. I almost got it. Oh, fuck. That's why. Okay. This is my new hangout spot.
That'd be a great place for a mouse.
Yeah.
Or like, maybe like a salamander if it's been raining.
Ski slopes? What? When did I download? What is going on? Okay, I'll put a statue down there. This is gonna be a little penguin hanging out down here. It's gonna make him. Just a hint. Okay. Secret penguin. I gotta think of one more fun activity to do before closing out the stream. Let's put in something completely random. Okay. I'm gonna scroll with my eyes closed and you're gonna tell me when to stop.
Stop.
We gotta get lemurs. Great.
That was a good choice.
Lemurs. Lemur.
Of the red ruffed variety.
Up to 1 male, up to 29 females. I know what I'm doing.
I'm a big lemur stan.
Do you like the DreamWorks film?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make this huge so that there aren't complaints when it becomes inevitably horribly overpopulated. It's gonna be the lemur district.
Okay, so you weren't lying when you said you were gonna make it huge.
Do you have any idea how much space I have to work with here? This is gonna be Lemur, New York City.
Isn't that normal New York City?
No, they don't have lemurs there.
In New York or something?
I have, actually. I did not see any lemurs that were alive. The American Museum has some dead ones. I did see lots of geese.
Geese?
And lots of yeast.
Did you see the yeast?
Yeah. stupid.
I'm glad that's working.
There we go. One staff entrance. You cannot have more than one entrance. Lemur, New York City will only be accessible through one entrance. Okay, what do we got? Okay, Africa, tropical. Fun fact. No facts are fun. Facts are value neutral. Continent. Africa. Biome. Tropical. So the first thing I'll do is give them their pizza oven. Don't want to skip on the essentials. I'm also figuring I don't need to put in a water feature if it's for lemurs. Okay, you got your one pizza oven. Now for just like a bunch of trees.
You should put in a jungle gym.
What if I put in a jungle instead?
That's fucking stupid.
Giant rhubarb. Okay, habitat. Climbable. Okay, I can put in, it's not exactly a jungle gym. There's like cat trees. That's not big enough. I'm just gonna put an entire building in here. Okay. It makes no sense, but the lemurs are gonna have some East Asian buildings. Or maybe stuff like this.
It's a bathroom.
No, I can take the bathroom out. Check it. Now it's just a place.
1516. Anybody in the chat listen to Rage Against the Machine?
I don't think there's anyone in chat but you and me.
Just talking to air.
Well, yeah.
I've been trying to be funny for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All these jokes I'm cracking.
You know, I used to think my life was a tragedy. But then,
But then everybody's alarm is going off. It's time for me to wake up. Well then, this has been fun. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna bounce.
okay, you're gonna go bounce on top of Avery.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
No, I'm gonna commit violence. Okay, fine.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Okay. Since I want to take my time and not rush it, I'm going to work on this part later.